Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one of the new unique items, which is called Opalvein. Opalvein is a very randomized unique, and before we go over all the randomizations, let's go over the one we have. So we have 2% chance to cast level 15 Flame Wave on attack. That's not on striking, that's on attack, which means you just swing your weapon. It doesn't work with like strafe and stuff like that, so unfortunately not good for the proc builds. I did test it earlier, and I was able to get it to proc a couple times, but nothing too impressive. I guess 2% is just too low. This one has 10% faster cast rate, 3% cold skill damage. All resistance is +6, 3 to life after each kill, and +1 to mana after each kill. Now, it doesn't look like too impressive of a ring, but when you take a look at the overall stats of the ring, which are actually much higher, and roll in a whole bunch of various ways, I do have the image here, thanks to walking devil, walking monster, walking. Why am I? It's right there. Non-ladder. Okay, it should be a non-ladder. There it is. All right, so here we have the actual screenshot of all the mods that roll in this thing, and it's kind of like nutty everything that rolls. So it rolls between 1 to 3 life after each kill, 1 to 3 mana after each kill. So you get basically a ranging roll between those. It also rolls between 6 to 8% on all resistances, which is not really the most crazy roll, so that one doesn't matter all that much. And then it has one of the following. So it doesn't actually roll all of these, it just rolls one of them. So you can have either 20 to 40% enhanced damage, which is off weapon enhancement. You can have 3 to 5% poison skill damage, 3 to 5% lightning skill damage, 3 to 5% magic skill damage, 3 to 5% fire skill damage, and 3 to 5% cold skill damage. So what we have here is a faster cast ring with all resistances with a varying plus skill damage of whatever type it happens to roll with, which means that this possibly could be like a best in slot item for some builds. It might not overpower like a Soj with +1 skills and mana, but in some cases, especially like maybe in magic damage, poison damage specifically, there's like a couple different ones that like cold damage definitely would be a really powerful one there. Lightning and fire maybe not so much because you get much less from positive skill damage with lightning and fire, but poison, cold, and magic would probably be really valuable this season. There's no cold on the Warlock, though, so, like, most likely between magic and fire, just simply because the Warlock actually does have fire abilities. Um, Magic's probably going to be the primary one, though, like damage-wise. Not a lot of cold characters this season, I don't know, so I'm not really sure how many cold characters are actually going to want the ring, but if there were a lot of cold characters, I could see the cold character, or the cold one, being really valuable as well. It really comes down to this, and I'll kind of explain my reasoning here. So cold skill damage doesn't have any positive skill damage really at all. However, if you have a plus positive skill damage with cold resistance, or the cold damage skills on the sorceress, they're extremely powerful because the mastery doesn't give plus skill damage, it only gives negative res. Magic skill damage is really powerful because, well, there's not a lot of magic skill damage or negative magic res at all in the game. And so it's, even if it's a small amount, like 5%, it's going to be pretty massive for magic damage characters, like a Bone Necromancer or a Hammered In or various other classes, usually casting classes. And it also has faster cast, which lines up with the casting abilities. Poison specifically because there's not a lot of plus poison skill damage and there's no poison skill mastery, so it does actually line up nicely. But the problem with that is that like there's not really a lot of good poison builds, so I don't really rank that one highly, even though it's a good option. The problem with lightning and fire is that on the sorceress at the very least, the lightning and fire doesn't really do very much because the mastery kind of like overshadows it. It basically counts as 5% mastery, if that makes any sense. The lightning is not going to be very useful for the new Warlock, obviously, so it might fall to the wayside there unless we get a lot of Nova Sorceresses. And then the fire skill damage, again, has the same problem with the Sorceress, but on the Warlock it could be relatively useful. So specifically on the Warlock, that fire skill damage could be neat. I mean, the 40% enhanced physical damage, I don't really see that as like a even remotely useful. I don't really know what to think about that one at all. Seems kind of poopy. 40% is not a lot of enhancement, and 40% is literally forgettable. Like, you could put that on, take it off, and like not even notice the damage increase, like at all. It's a level 50 ring. It's an interesting ring. It's a powerful ring. I mean, take away the skill damage and the enhanced damage, and it's still a 10% faster cast ring with 8 resistance all and 3 to life after each kill and 3 to mana after each kill, which is powerful on its own, right? And then adding in the skill damage of each particular element on top of that definitely makes it more interesting for each individual class. Because if somebody offers you a 10% faster cast ring with 8 all res, and then it has 3 mana after each kill, 3 life after each kill, and then like 5% fired skill damage as well, I mean, that's a really solid combination. Um, Good luck finding the one you want, though. Good luck finding the one you want. I think that's pretty much it for this ring. As always, I appreciate you guys and gals joining. Be sure to join me for the next episode. I think the last item I have, or the last 2 items I have, is like the sling ring and one of the books. I think it's like the Mephistopheles book or whatever. As soon as I get my hands on those, I'll make a video. And as always, keep watching.